Yet when there was life in great Kamet, there was life in great abundance. This was a land of living fossils, upon whose hoary plains time dared not to intrude, where the creatures of the ancient oceans and forbidden depths joined their northern brethren in their freaked eons, and Ma'at maintained the balance of the human world in giving each monstrosity its place and proper reckoning. Yamano owned the peopleless wastes, where wind and cold and hidden coves would serve him unaware. But he was not alone in this dominion. Suta, who separated the body of his brother Usiri, also made his claim. The carcinological god had turned from red to white, and the people understood this to mean that he had once been the anger of fire, whose passions one day cooled, but did not soften, and instead turned into a baleful cold. His dominion was the encroaching snows, which threatened to burst all life within the fertile shores of Kemet, and turn the black earth and blue waters white with death during the long seasons of the night. Into this whitened place of Suta went Kamenwati, reciting the Ba's lament, out of order and incomplete. Loathsome is my name. It is the closed circle around the captured renegade, aware of his own end. He mindlessly walked through a field of brittle stars, whose gentle tentacles tickled at his ankles, slowly tearing at them with their abrasive coat of icicles. They clung for only a moment, though, and then fell away, leaving furrows in his boots. But Kamenwati could not bring himself to die of exposure and starvation. He had known much of these forbidden reaches from his bandit days, and, instead of dying, wandered on. Rushing to die before death has come, casting to the flame that which the Ba sustains, appease my pain. While camping in the indent of some windswept mountain wall, he could see a number of Majade crabs stalking in the distance, their legs taller than a man is tall, chipping the ice. They appeared as the claws of the horizon, but came no closer. Their moonlit shadows were parchment thin and almost non-existent when they moved. These things were but one half bound to earth, their bulbous bodies and one crushing claw being the only parts of any substance. The crustaceans of the Arctic wastes were the children of Suta, manifesting his strength on the earth, but also his capriciousness. It was with a celestial embrace that the god of destruction assisted Ra in his nightly fight against the serpent of chaos, skewering it and holding it fast. Even this frozen foe of the desert cold was not without his place in Ma'at, unlike Kamenwati. Swift action, cruel and strong from within the clan, caught Kamenwati's notice as the creatures descended on one of their own, tearing off its thin limbs and consuming the tender flesh. The rebel was glad for his shelter. "To whom shall I speak today? Brothers are evil. Friends today cannot be loved." The stars felt wrong, most of all Sothis, the rebel star, so called because it once was the herald of the coming warmth, but now no longer. Only this land of death and eerie life now called to him with any great conviction. Your Ka rejects you, Kamenwati. Your Ba despises you. Your shadow flees from you. Your name abandons you. Your heart blackens with its weight. He was not a Bennu bird, rising from the ashes, which he used to set himself alight for warmth. Aimlessly, the wanderer passed through unwelcoming terrain. The beasts of the wild grew stranger and more monstrous, some with half-human visages of demons and gods, some which defied description as if from another world. Save for the laughter of an unknown nocturnal visitor and the howling of the wolves, the blankness of the land was set to music by the hissing of the winds. Slowly, the song began to loosen his heart's hold on reason. There were weirder things still to be found in the lands of Suta Yamanu. The rebel thought of going to far-off Nubia, to the black pharaohs of Nubia, with their sharp-reaching ziggurats built in rows and sphinxes with the head of goats and the body of spiders. Long ago, it was said, the Nubian people had made a pact with a tribe of spider lords, the royal line claiming its ancestry from some common queen. The sorcerers of their people were powerful indeed, as if warmed by the blood of demons. They could raise the effigies to life and whisk souls away to far corners of the world. Among the people of Kemet, only great Sirasire could conquer them in magic, and every generation he returned to face them once again. Then there was the spreading ocean, which opened up the gate of heaven. The endlessness of its motion, so different from the winding ice, ensorcelled Kamenwati's senses. There was a large overhang separating the land from the sea, and he approached it puzzlingly. There was something strange about the surface here. He came to see what he first had thought was starlight playing in the waves. Yet it was no starlight at all, but the vertical undulations of the Queen of Fishes, countless of them keeping their lunar court in this unseen corner of Yamanu's kingdom. Beguiling in their oddities, they swam upright, with eyes facing the silver disk of Thoth. In this way they were like columns of the temples, taller than 10 men, with red plumes running down a back of deepest blue and an astral shade of indigo. Among the towers of their bodies swam the solar fish of Ra, round and flat like the disk of the sun. Some would rise to the surface to prostrate themselves before their opposite, and in this way the space between the coast and sky was transfigured into a living temple of the quicksilver union of night and day. And then the sea erupted. In a nova of ancient might, Mesozoic and unreachable, mountainous but distant, the serpent loomed, a second horizon of the deep, rising from the reaches of ocean night like a second dawn. It was a striking cerulean and crimson, like flame battling the sea, both cascading with the water overtop the god-serpent's squamous hide. Was it a hook to catch the sky and bring it back into the world, or else one from heaven redeeming and revealing? It lifted itself out of the waves, and it were as if it rose to encompass the whole of Maat in the wide circle of its frame. Kamenwati was unable to move at the sight of it. He could not fear being devoured. Its enormity precluded all thought of exteriors. Were the other creatures of the deep bowing down in prayer to this abyssal lord? The rebel, overcome, mirrored their observances. Time was then eclipsed by space as the ceremony continued, and Kamenwati's body ached from his long-held prayerful posture, but he could not rise. The ocean temple of the gods' disciplines darkened to the depths, leaving their lord alone upon the surface. When all had gone, it stretched up to the heights of the world and plucked a star out from heaven, returning it to earth. And then it fell with a thunderclap and an echo of ocean spray, which fell for 100 Itra all around. Kamenwati waited in reverence until the ripples had subsided, then turned, a prayer on his lips, for above is exalted by below. He left the summit of the cliff and went back on his way.